welcome to another week. I know that I promised I would stop missing weeks between posts, but it took me a week to finish a book, and so I wasn't even done with the book that I had started on Monday by the time I arrived at Friday. So I did not really have books to talk about, and bad Ashley, I know. So the book that took me so long is Bitten by Kelley Armstrong. It's a good book. I had fun reading it. It's like one of those that's on the border between urban fantasy and paranormal romance, because it does have romance in it. It definitely is part romance, but there's also a lot of the main plot with these werewolves happening, and so it runs like the line. I don't know which one you would classify it as. Bitten is about a girl, Elena, who is the only female werewolf. The werewolf gene, there's two ways that werewolves can be made. They can be bitten, and most bitten werewolves don't survive because they are out of control, or other werewolves don't like them, and so they kill them off. And then they can also be born, but the werewolf gene is only passed from father to son. So Elena is the only female werewolf in existence, and she was bitten. And she ends up she wanted to be very human, and so she left the pack, which is like the central unit of werewolves. And there's not very many werewolves like anywhere, and many of them are mutts, which means that they don't get to be part of the pack, and they usually like to kill people, which is not good. And so she left to try and be human and suppress that wolf side of her, and she has to go back to Stonehaven, which is where the pack is located, to help them with the problem. And when she's there, she meets this guy that was her old lover and is awesome. I love Clay. He is great. And so you have Clay and Elena's side story, and then you have people are dying around Stonehaven, and you don't kill in the pack's territory. That's like nailing a bullseye to your head and saying, "Come and get me." So they have to track down whoever's doing that, and it's a really good book. I really enjoyed it. I want to read the next one now, because it's the Women of the Underworld series. And they aren't really a series in the strictest sense of the word. They can be standalone books, but some have elements of other ones that come back into play. And so I'm really excited to read, I think Stolen is the next one. Yes, Stolen. So I'm excited. The next book that I finished is one that is one of my favorites. I've read it so many times. I think the book is actually starting to fall apart. And it's The Year of the Secret Assignments by Jaclyn Moriarty. And the wonderful thing about this book is it's written entirely in letters and bulletins and emails and like a transcript, and none of it is straight narrative. It's really, really cool. And it's a good book. It's about, the basis of it is, there's these three girls from one school, I think it's a private school, Ashbury, who are writing to three boys at Brookfield, which is a school with a bad reputation. I think it's also a public school. And so it's the Joy of the Envelope pen pal project. Their English teacher is very excited about this. And so you get their letters back and forth, and it's just really cool. And it's quirky. It's one of those books that I don't know how to classify except saying, you are YA, which, as I mentioned before, is a terrible classification for something, because it's like saying, this is fiction. That's great. What kind of fiction is it? So it's a quirky book. It's, of the ones that I've read of her Ashbury series, I think I like this one the most. I haven't read Feeling Sorry for Celia, which is the one that comes right before this. But it's such a good book. I've read it so many times, and funny and quirky, and there's crime, and it's hilarious. So, Year of the Secret Assignments, Jaclyn Moriarty. It's a good book. You should read it. And the last book is a book that I checked out from the library because I thought it sounded interesting. It's called Crazy You, One Dad's Crash Course in Getting His Kid into College. And I like reading books like this because it's just fun to relive the fact that I don't have to go through the college application process again. The FAFSA chapter made me laugh because it is so true. This book is nonfiction. It's really interesting because it takes his narrative and he mixes it with a lot of facts and controversies about the college application process and about college itself, and it was a really interesting book. Although I think that my favorite parts were when he was talking, and because then he was funny. And I need humor in a book. I value humor, probably more than I should, but I loved his voice when he was just talking about himself was great. So it's Crazy You. It's by Andrew Ferguson. And if you are in the college process, if you are a parent who's gone through the college application process, if you've gone through it before, it's fun. It's a fun book to read. And it has a lot of information that's really cool in it. So, those are the 3 books that I have this week. I am super excited because I have the last little blue envelope, and I need to do my reading for school, and then I'm going to sit down and read it, and it will be glorious. So next week I will have the last little blue envelope and other various assorted books. I'm not sure what I'll read next after that. So, thanks for watching, and happy reading.